This is D4 Dishonor. I'm Genesee.
My character is Anatari. She's a good aligned Kalishtar war priest. She has psionic powers.
I'm Eric.
My name is Caesar.
I don't know what this assisting means. What do you have to say for yourself there? What do I call you, Mr. Death? Death? Boss? Not yet.
I'm Kevin. You will see this old man who looks similar to what Mithrin used to look like, but about 15 years older. And you will see that his entire hand is just basically one giant vambrace, all just armored to like the nth degree. But he looks you right in the eye and he says, "Well met."
I'm Florian. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Carl.
And I'm Tinsian, the despotic DM of D4 Dishonor, dastardly dashing ahead with all sorts of free-form creative ideas on the fly.
One of the beauties of D&D. You can't end the story. It goes anywhere you want it.
Welcome to the show. I'm Genesee.
I'm Eric.
I'm Florian.
And I'm Tinsian, who still remembers what the hell we did 3 months ago.
Yeah, right.
Right.
See about that.
Yeah. Today is Friday, September 16th, and this is episode 188 in a not at all weekly semi-biannual quarter one series involving a group of friends playing Dungeons & Dragons, hosted by the Gray Area Podcast. So, as Tinsian said, we don't remember where we were last time, because it's been forever, really. So, Dungeon Master, catch us up on where we are a year ago.
Well, first I need to settle some administrative business. Florian, there have been a number of expense reports submitted by you to D4 Dishonor.
Death
He is the foreigner in the department, so
Dishonor?
Yeah. Well, it could be financial dishonor, but a couple expense reports have been submitted while we haven't been recording for push carts and building materials and some other stuff. So, if we're not recording, those aren't getting paid, and if we are recording, those aren't getting paid because nobody's donating to the podcast. So even if they did, probably wouldn't get paid.
All right.
So,
just being honest.
Genesee, roll for initiative versus the pumpkin spice monster.
Oh, 7. Not so good.
Proof that pumpkin spice does rule the white girls.
What? Rules the world.
Mm-hmm. Okay. In the last episode, Florian was injured, poisoned, something, but is gurgling on the bottom of the flying platform. Caesar is ignoring the fact that Florian is gurgling, or Carl is gurgling on the bottom of the flying platform. And Xanatari is wondering why she bothered to land the flying platform with the ignoring Caesar and the gurgling Carl back in the town of Undead. Well, it's not really the town of Undead. It's Undead with a smashed, shattered, and mostly missing town. But something about a conscience. And somebody wanted to meet up or something, so. Town of Undead. So, just a further recap, because it has been longer than the last time that George R.R. Martin released a book.
Whoa, that's a long
Ouch.
Yeah. As long as we don't go over that length, we still got some credibility left, I think. All right. This town, called Ghostlight, was attacked by something gigantic, Colossus. A combination of the two, some big word that we haven't quite figured out yet. Deal with it. The undead were chased out of town. The living were chased out of town. The living who have deals and job partnerships with the undead was chased out of town. And that all culminates with them flying back into town once again. Xanatari piloting. Carl gurgling. Caesar ignoring.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the last time it was Carl who went first, but since Carl is having a bit of a time, and I'm going to put her on the spot, but I'm not, because I'm smart like that. Caesar, what shall you choose to ignore first?
It's tricky.
Aside from me.
Damn it, that was my first thought.
I love it.
So we landed.
Mhm.
And there's some gurgling that I'm ignoring.
Yes.
Um,
Comfy foot mat, though, if you toes got chilly while speeding over the trees. And
well, they probably
Right.
did.
yeah.
I'm getting older. My extremities, there's not as much circulation. I need to, keep those boot warmers in pretty much all the time, or else I could lose a toe.
The rug is
Um,
dressed wonderfully, though, in a smoking jacket and wonderful pants.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Maybe the gurgling will eventually catch his attention, and he'll turn his gaze towards that sound.
Again, because I believe in the last time you smashed a healing globe over his head and didn't want to get the mess.
Right.
So you just kind of
Okay.
mashed it all over through the hair and stuff. So
Got it.
I figured you were off to better things after
You're
having
right.
unignored for a
How
moment
have I not remembered that?
because you're not the DM.
All right, but we're stopped though, right?
Yes, in one piece actually.
Got it. All right. I think that Caesar will make his way off of the spinning platform, and he still has his directive to try to figure out what's going on here from his employer. So he'll first just try to see what immediately is around that can inform him in that direction, and then maybe even see if there's a direction that he can get everybody to try to go towards or something.
Okay. It looks like more parts of the town have been shoveled into that quarry, including the rest of the castle that had the stacks of coffins in them.
Right.
And for the most part, what you can tell by the rubble that is around for the remaining buildings, not much was in either the upper floors or the main floors of the building. Most of the activity and unlife of the village was in the basement or deeper levels. So, depending on tricks of the light and whatever else, and that sense and bit like that, you can see some eyes or something looking out from underneath rubble that's stacked on top of basements, or see people kind of digging things out.
And are we in the midst of all this, or is this like in the distance?
You're kind of in the edge of town, I think, is where you landed.
Okay.
Or the edge of now 3 hamlets that maybe if you put them together might form a house.
Okay.
Things got scooped pretty bad. You can see finger tracks that just, or what look like finger tracks that are
Right.
just massive.
Okay.
Oh, and there's still the tornadoes going.
Right, of course. If it's close enough for him to go over to without seeming like he's just completely wandering off on his own, he'll maybe go over towards one of those structures to see if there's anybody to speak to.
Okay. Xanatari. First, 300 points for figuring out how not to kill everyone with a dramatic exit in piloting skills, when piloting hasn't yet been invented for the most part.
Okay.
So, good job. What would you like to do? Because there's still the tornadoes going on, still bits of the storm here and there raging around, and, oh yeah, lots of undead.
I kind of have a vague recollection that there were some people in the forest fleeing, whether they're invisible or not, fleeing the beast as well as the hurricanes. Did we ever pick any of them up, or were we just kind of trying to get out of the way?
I think one of them is smeared underneath the
Hey.
thing, and there's a hand possibly still grabbing, just a hand, still grabbing one of Carl's ankles.
Oh, that's sad.
No, the rest you didn't manage to pick up, but they could probably still be out in the woods or heading back or going off to find somewhere else because undead.
Yeah.
But you did get to have the first ever undead, not dead, run for your life from death, even though they've already been through it one time, but you haven't a thon.
The zombie run that I've always dreamed of.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I kind of remember being concerned about Carl, and Caesar has thrown his healing potion on it. So I want to take a better look at at Carl and see if I need to use any kind of minor healing or, what state he's in. So I'm going to lean down and kind of visually examine him and just kind of take his head between my hands, look into his eyes to see if they're focusing properly, and just say, Carl, how are you feeling?
Well, Carl has on a lovely outfit, and it's kind of hard to actually not just pay attention to the outfit.
I've admired his pants earlier, but, I'm really just concerned about his well-being right now.
Well, it should be more the well-being of the outfit because, it's a special outfit, and it looks so damn good.
Carl,
Even with all
DMS thing for you.
even with all the crap in his hair that you're kind of like, schmudzing through.
Okay, is there any chance that perhaps Caesar has mischosen his potion that has been dumped on Carl's head, and perhaps it's some kind of other potion besides a healing potion?
How do you want to figure that out?
Roll for, I don't know if I have an alchemy skill of any sort, but, observation, looking
Nature?
for...
Maybe even heal.
Well, I could just heal him, but I'm interested in...
Well, you can make a heal check to see, like, how it's affecting his health, maybe.
I'm a little bit more concerned about how it's affecting my health.
Got
Well, it's it's going to be
roll
sticky fingers for a bit.
I'm gonna roll perception.
Okay.
So, do you want a skill check, or can I just roll it?
Sure, go ahead, roll it.
12.
Okay. The outfit is undamaged.
The end.
Carl's hair may have invented a fashion statement because the rapidly drying, purplish, odd-looking chemical that's in his hair is actually kind of spiking it in ways that a half-orc should not have their hair spiked, but it could be a fashion rage in, another forgotten realm.
Okay.
But yeah, he's not looking so good, and he hasn't kind of chirped up yet. It's not good.
Okay. Slightly pushing Caesar to the side, Xanatar is going to lean down very close to Carl and use a minor healing surge, which is minor action. At the same time, she's going to start lightly running her fingers through the spikes of his hair, as though she can't quite resist.
Do you steal anything, by the way?
My thievery is awful. And
Carl.
that would be wrong. That would just be wrong.
What would you like to do since you're kind of rapidly not doing so well?
So I'm still pretty much out cold.
Makes it sound so much worse, Carl.
You're rapidly heading towards unconsciousness, but if this is the last thing you have to see, you can at least look at your outfit and know that you are going unconscious, looking great.
Okay. Carl's gonna weakly run his fingers through his hair as well. Look at a gel or a healing goo or whatever it is, and mumble, "Now my hair feels all fizzy and funny."
I want Carl to be attracted to himself.
That sounds like a very Caesarish thing.
Mm.
Maybe it's contagious.
Where did Caesar go?
I don't know, but he squirreled and suddenly darted off, so maybe his local DM has caused him to
Called for him.
perform a skills check.
Yes.
Carl looks like he's actually based on, I'll give you for the benefit of a heal check, looks like he's been either poisoned or hit his head really badly.
Okay.
And it's somehow throwing some...
So a healing surge wouldn't... Because he can spend one healing surge if he wants. I mean, that's the minor action he can take.
I'm going to say that's going to help stabilize him, but there's going to have to be some creativity, perhaps.
Gotcha. I have a cleanse. I'll save that for later.
Okay, Carl?
groans and looks at Centauri and says, "I'm sorry for not being very helpful at the moment. I believe I must have swallowed a bug or something that wasn't too pleasant. I hope you're all okay."
Centaur's gonna take Bert, who I think has probably been put away in her knapsack, if I can remember that long ago. He was kind of shining towards the beast. I don't know what happened to him afterwards. But I want Bert here so I can at least kind of see in the dark and kind of shine him over Carl and kind of scan him to see if there's any like actual wounds or if it's all just like a head wound. So kind of looking at the same time as Caesar seems to be preoccupied. So
yeah, it looks like Carl has a small gash, but a pretty heady, no pun intended, honestly on that one, concussion.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also, it looks like in the cut, there appears that some of the chemical may have gotten into that and could be rapidly causing an issue. For those, and this is the typical announcement, for those who have video and are now watching, Freddie, our co-GM, has shown himself finally. And for those of you who are listening to this audio later, you won't hear anything, but the rest of you may hear some serious purring.
He's so glad. It's been months since he's been held in a chair.
Yeah, so it kind of looks like he took a very nasty spill, and then he's just getting some stuff into an infection. So it's curable, but it just looks kind of nasty.
Okay.
So, do you wish to do anything further for Florian? Sorry, for Carl, to help out his cause, or do you wish to focus to the tornadoes that are still around?
Well, being kind of greedy with my actions, Zentrai would like to wait for Caesar to perhaps do some kind of mechanical, technological heal of Carl, because he doesn't seem to be dying currently, and I'm a little bit more concerned about the fact that we might get hit by a tornado. So, against all protocol, I'm going to gently pick him up and place him on the back of Winter, who I've been kind of holding on to so he didn't fall out of the airship as we landed, and try to kind of creep off of the airship and look around for cover so we can move.
Okay. Winter, by the way, is very put off by both the forest and the town. Not exactly growling, but the hackles are up.
Mm-hmm.
And Bert, as you're using Bert to examine Carl, does grow dim for a moment, and maybe everyone should roll a perception check.
It's the pants, isn't it? Bert got interested in the fashion choices of Carl. 25.
That's a modified 26.
Okay. Caesar, I guess, is not back as yet. So
he's not paying attention anyway. He can't have any kind of perception.
out of the corner of your eye, both of you might see something in the forest go into a pile of ash.
Like
But
Bert
you can't just
turned
tell
and
if it's-
killed something?
You can't really tell if it's a trick of the light, the wind, spontaneous combustion. But it did get conveniently dim at the time.
Okay. Well then, since we noticed, Xanatar will be just a little more careful of unknown dangers in the forest, but we still need to move.
Okay. By the way, Bert is starting to hum/buzz, very kind of low level,
Okay.
and is starting to orbit towards the village.
Okay. Well, I guess Xanatar is going to kind of lead Winter and Carl on Winter towards the village then.
Okay. Alrighty, this would be a little bit better if Caesar was here.
Pretty sure he'll follow.
Okay. Picking through various bits of remaining lumber and stuff, well, there goes my camera again. Oh, well. Damn it. This laptop just has such fun times.
Son of a monkey, this show never goes well technologically. What is up
Nope.
with that?
No. There are a bunch of albinos, and by a bunch I mean maybe 8, picking through various pieces of debris, pulling some people out from cellars. One is even carrying around what could best be described as a tarp and trying to array it over one of the smaller cellar pits.
Don't even think about trying to escape. That kind of albino? The chains are far too thick? That albino?
Not quite, but I like that. I like that a lot. 100 for culture. 100 experience. So, there you go. Okay. But it looks like they are trying to secure some degree of cover because while it is dark now, eventually there will be light. And this village may be a little kind of awkward for not having hidey holes. Do you want to help anyone, or do you just want to barge through? Do you parade float?
Carrying Carl, even though winter is technically... No! I'm not helpful. We're going to get Carl into some place where there's not tornadoes.
Okay. You could probably get rid of the tornado. It's kind of your deal.
Fine. Well,
Did you want to run it?
Really my thing, not necessarily tornadoes, but okay. My deity has driven back the monster into some sort of cave, which seemed to me that the monster was generating the tornadoes, or the deity is generating the tornadoes. I'm going to bring out my holy symbol and pray over it, trying to, for the first time ever in my life, clear a storm rather than create one.
You ask nicely, or do you be forceful about it and
No, I'm going to ask nicely.
be belligerent? Okay. There seems miscommunication isn't the right sort of phrase, but there's a moment where what you are trying to do with the storm doesn't seem to make sense with the feedback that you're getting from the storm. It's not fighting against you, but it doesn't quite understand that you want it to fall on its own sword, so to speak. Eventually, though, you are able to compromise, and the tornadoes become less, but they start essentially going down into the quarry and destroying stuff down there.
Oh. Okay, well, that's, I guess, better than being here.
So with a slightly more increased hum from Bert, you can quickly walk through in, 2 minutes for what is remaining of the town. And that's giving you a good minute and a half on either side to go, wow, I've gotten really far out of town.
I'm going to call back to Carl, because he's got to be conscious to hang on to winter. You doing okay back there, buddy?
Well, for a given amount of okay, yes. If you'd like me to hit something, please tell Miss Winter to just walk over there so I can reach it.
Nice. Okay, so we're going to continue on. I'm looking for a building that looks stable and somewhat unoccupied.
Okay, you find kind of a medium-sized lean-to barn.
Okay, we
Lack
open
of a
the
better
door
term.
and kind of pay attention to what's around. Do I hear any noises? What's going on with this? Do you want to roll perception?
There's a couple chickens. There's a couple of sheep, and there's a cow or two. but for the most part, it does not seem to be otherwise occupied. There have been a couple of the albino helpers pulling stuff out of a side room attached to the barn,
Okay.
but otherwise nobody seems to be in the barn itself.
Okay. I'm going to take him inside and try my best to take him off Winter without dropping him onto the ground and exacerbating his injury. But I'm probably going to kind of actually drop him a little bit on his side.
Okay. Are you aiming for the non-concussed side, or are you
I'm
going
aiming for not his head. If he lands on his shoulder, that's okay, but not his head.
Okay. Carl?
Oh, thank you for carrying me here. Now I can take a sleep while you and Mr. Cesar rescue everybody?
Xanatari is still surprisingly fascinated by Carl's pants. Will just nod slowly.
Because the jacket is also really...
Fine.
Really good.
Also the brocade on his jacket, a smoking jacket as it is.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Cesar! Are you here?
Hmm. So do we just want to say that we have recorded at least 27 minutes and...
Ooh, 27 minutes is a record.
It's actually not our shortest one that we've done.
Okay, well, I think Carl's gonna pass out, so I'm not sure if you want me to just keep on doing things, because I can do that, or we can wait and maybe Cesar will return.
You can keep on doing things if you want. Generally reminding you that having someone with a concussion fall asleep isn't exactly...
Oh, I know. I'm aware of that fact.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to keep doing things, and go ahead. If we want to hear the dreaming thoughts of Carl,
the
then...
musings of Carl in his dreamland. I'm actually that's kind of half the reason that I let him fall asleep.
I'm kind of wondering, as a monk, does he count sheep jumping a fence, or does he count himself jumping a fence? And how big is the
I
fence?
think he'd count himself jumping sheep.
Ah, that's better.
Giant sheep, monster sheep, just regular sheep?
No, regular sheep.
Okay. Not bad. Okay.
Cargill's
I'm just waiting to see Carl's box appear, because that box has not shown up in several episodes, and it's supposed to have been following us this entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Just wondering.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, the hum is getting louder from Bert.
Okay. Last time Bert did this, he obliterated a city. So, I'm going to try to do I'm going to use my mind link with Bert and try to see what is going on with him and why he's doing that. So I'm going to try to get an impression from Bert. That's just sort of an inherent ability of Xanatari, so I won't think I have to roll for that.
Bert's just kind of screaming about the fact that it's undead and danger and danger and danger, and he can do something about it, and he's going to save everyone from the danger, and why the hell are we walking through the danger without killing anyone that's blah, 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 blah.
Got you.
He's a bit prejudiced to the
undead.
the apparently new way of...
So we're just equating the albinos to undead. That's what we just assume. That's the correlation there.
Well, you haven't quite looked there, but apparently Bert seems to think that something is going on here, and Cesar was kind of acting a little bit weird before in the inn.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, Bert just seems to be quite on edge and is going to do something about it. He's just kind of being polite and letting you guys take the first swings, even though he's not exactly backing up with a thesis and citation to explain his mood.
Got you. Okay.
Nobody aside from the ones that were chasing you through the woods that you're not sure if they were chasing you or just trying to escape. But there was a lot of stuff going on in the woods.
Yeah.
Nobody's
it
attacked you
seemed like they were
yet.
just running from the monster. Because remember, they were hospitable to us in the inn. You know, with the towels and the washing.
Yeah, they were.
So.
They fed you, and you haven't died of anything yet.
So Xanatar is not inclined to kill them. I'm going to try to lure Bert inside my pack so he stops the genocide. He returns!
Sorry, guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I brought Carl to a barn with Winter, and Carl's poisoned, but Xanatari is greedy with her turn to heal him, so I'm kind of leaving him to your care.
Is greedy with her turn? What?
In other words, I don't have my sheet that has the right spell that I can do, which happens to be a minor action to cure poison as well as cleanse. So basically, it's Cesar's job.
Okay.
So you're outside, they're all inside, and you can kind of hear Bert humming in the distance.
Okay. Well, maybe they found someone to talk to, so he'll go in there and go towards the humming if he can pin it down and see what's going on.
Okay. As you open the door, it seems that Xanatari is trying to lure Bert back into a bag. Carl is on the floor looking like he's about to fall asleep.
Okay.
And you look stunning.
Of course. He'll look down at Carl and say, "What's up with him?"
Carl, you're waking up to answer, or shall Xanatari take it?
I don't really feel so good. So if one of these people, those pale people, would like to eat me, please tell them I'm not good for them at the moment.
What's wrong with you?
And he points at his head, probably just general direction.
All right. Since he wasn't able to fix him with his goop orb, he'll try to figure out a better sense of what's going on with him, and I'll roll a heal check to see if I can sense what his malady is.
Oh, by the way, one of your engineering insights for this process is you need to make a better container for the healing potions if you're going to smash them against someone's head, because the cut could have been caused by a shard of the healing globe and could have possibly exacerbated the concussion by landing on top of it.
Great.
Got it.
But I'm not going to have the rest of the party know that. You could have compounded the issue.
So is that my assessment of what's going on?
Well, that and he's got a concussion from something when he's getting banged around on the flying platform.
Okay.
He's still got a dismembered hand attached to his ankle that could be causing some pressure issues.
He
Okay.
used a healing surge and nothing happened.
Well, it stabilized him. He was dying.
No.
He's at least now responding. So,
Okay.
go you.
I have a minor action as part of my character. It's called Swift Mender. Basically, the effect in the rules terms is the target makes a saving throw. So I don't know if that could apply to any of his statuses, but basically it's a little robot that goes over and helps him out. So maybe it's like a little patcher-upper. And
If
it like
the hand
maybe
is like injecting him or something, right? That would work.
Maybe he's got hammers to knock the concussion back into the head. Or something.
Sure.
Okay. I don't know. You need to indulge us in
I
how
was thinking my thought was more that it was maybe like it would make like little sutures anywhere there was any kind of wound like that.
Okay.
Like sew him up real quick, crawl all
Okay.
over him.
All right. Hey, Carl.
Yep.
Above or below a 10?
Above.
Okay. You get to roll it.
Oh, okay. Let's see. And that's an 8. Whoops.
Okay. But you know what the thing is? It's to scale because I didn't tell you that it was going to be rolling on a D4, so you've succeeded. Yeah, I'll say that you're about 80% effective, Cesar. Carl, you feel something kind of scampering all over you, trying to do some stuff here and there, maybe whatever, but you do feel a little less banged up.
Okay. He's gonna blink a little bit more lively now and grasp for the robot thing. And if he actually managed to catch it, he's gonna slightly pat it and say, "Oh, that's very nice of you, Mr. Robot."
Okay. Any precautions against a display of affection, Cesar?
It probably would just crumble into pieces.
Oh.
Oh.
You broke it, you meat-handed barbarian monk.
Oh.
Sad.
And he looks at a piece in his hands and makes a very sad face. Oh.
Bert flies into the bag much quicker now.
Okay. Bert's still humming, by the way. Mm-hmm. Do you close the bag or do you leave the bag open?
No, I closed the bag. He doesn't breathe. He's a rock.
Okay.
My theory is like a small child. If I close his eyes, things don't exist.
Or it's like a bird. You put a sheet over it and it goes to sleep.
Exactly.
Okay. A couple minutes after you do that, Xanatari, the humming and buzzing stops. There is a sense of smug satisfaction, what appears to come from the bag, and you have a vision of somewhere, a city, a town, or something was just wiped off a map in some other reality. For just a moment, you see this.
Not being responsible for alternate realities, Xanatari just ignores this information.
Okay. Cesar, you sense that something has just walked over Xanatari's grave.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see a sign or anything yet, but yeah, there was a disturbance in the force.
Okay. Well, that's probably all a part in the day and life of Death's apprentice, but maybe he'll remember to talk to him about that later.
Okay. Speaking of that, you are surrounded by death, yet you do not see the wheelbarrows being borne by skeletons in the town that you are in.
Okay. Yeah,
did
you had
see
mentioned that before.
plenty before.
Mm-hmm.
It does not appear that one is waiting for Carl. So he must be beyond death's door, but not yours.
Right. Okay. So we're in a barn, right?
A barn.
Yeah. Well, he'll maybe, now that he knows what's going on in here, he'll maybe go back to sort of scouting around nearby, not too far. I'm assuming there's a house that goes with the barn, maybe. I don't know if there's any part of it left, but maybe there's...
No, this is really about the only intact structure.
Hmm.
Literally, as when you were away, I mentioned that you could walk through town in about 2 minutes and still have a good minute and a half to go, wow, I've gotten really far outside of town either way. It's pretty well banged up and trashed.
Okay. the barn itself is secure? Like, could you actually? Are there 4 walls and a door and everything, or is it?
Four walls, a door. A couple of the albinos are pulling stuff out of the what appears to be a small side room attached to the outside of the barn. Things like tarps or what we would consider tarps. Other bits.
Okay.
Maybe throwing some stuff in there.
Maybe he'll go over and try to interact with them.
Okay. You are met with kind of the harried frenzy of a laborer that is trying to make a deadline, but you're not repulsed or told to go away, and you are able to make some simple introductions. But
Okay.
you kind of have to walk along with them as they're getting things.
Sure. Maybe I'll help them out.
Okay. They make it clear that they're trying to form a sanctuary before the dawn comes up. They need to get some people out of the elements, as it were. And you are pointed towards 2 bodies, or what appear to be bodies, laying on the ground off to the side. And you are asked to drag them into, or carry them into, that room where they just pulled the last tarp out of.
Okay. You can do that.
Okay. Are you going to try to drag or try to carry, or are you going to do any tests before you randomly grab corpses?
He'll probably get them in there first and then go from there. I mean, if he can pick them up, he will. I don't know how heavy they are. Give it a shot.
They're quite heavy.
Okay.
Heavier than a standard dead body should be. But something kind of hazy around your vision is telling you that maybe they're not exactly dead.
Okay. Is there maybe a check I can do to get some information, bring back to good old Mephistopheles? That's not the right name for death, but you know what I mean.
Yep. Both of the bodies are vampires.
Okay.
They still have the reanimation magic about them, but it appears that something has either sucked out their brain or caused such tremendous shock to even a creature as old or potentially as old as a vampire is, that they've essentially been knocked unconscious or sort of deal. They're stunned and unable to respond for their own good or ill.
Okay.
But you're not attacked or anything, and they don't seem to be playing possum on you.
All right. Well, he'll probably need to drag them, I'm guessing.
Okay.
He'll try to do so respectfully. We'll just grab their boots and clonk their head along the ground or anything.
Very good. Do you take the short path or do you take the long path through the cactus?
I'll skip both. I'll go through the stinging nettles and make my way there.
Okay.
Just the short path would be fine.
Okay. I think there's a sprinkler of holy water that's watering the lawn somewhere that you can.
Next to the garlic patch?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay,
Got it.
Yep. Okay. You're able to get eventually into the room. You notice that the walls there have been reinforced.
Okay.
Some extra stone and mortar and pretty thick, and you don't quite see any gaps.
Okay. They didn't just do that, right? That's
No.
okay.
No, this could be a storm shelter type thing.
Okay.
Okay. But that'll take you probably a good 20 minutes or so, and
Okay.
while you're doing that, Xanatari, Caesar has announced a few things, and then dismissed himself. What are you doing for that 20 minutes of...
Okay, well, it looks like Bert is secure and Carl's not going to die. Xanatari is interested in the possibility of the people around being actual dead, and the fact that she could raise one of them for a limited time to ask questions, if they can currently speak. So she's going to be walking around observing the, as you say, albinos, perhaps dead, the interest of seeing if they can communicate now, or if there's an opportunity there to find out.
Okay.
something.
The albinos are all alive. The dead, the physical dead, do
These
not appear.
vampires.
Hmm?
The vampires?
The vampires, there's some stuff under some of the rubble and some nooks and crannies here in cellars where things are peeking out at you. Or you think they're peeking out at you, because that's the classic Tom and Jerry.
Okay.
There's a dark alley and there's the weird eyes staring out at you. Um,
Well, these bodies, though, and the wheelbarrows, etc.
well, the wheelbarrows are things that only Caesar sees.
Oh, I thought I could see them too. Okay.
No, they are.
Because didn't we examine them, or were those crates at the beginning when we went into the castle? And
There were crates. Yep, in
and
crates
they
in the
were carrying
castle, and there were
sheets by
coffins
that we could
and
see in the coffins, etc. So there's none of that. Just wheelbarrows that only Caesar can see, not boxes
The-
of dead people.
the castle is gone. The rest of the castle is gone that had all those things in it. The wheelbarrows that are pushed along by skeletons are things that only Caesar sees because they ferry the whatever back.
Yes, they're the ferrymen on the river Styx, essentially.
Essentially.
Okay, well then Caesar's gonna look really weird. So Xanatari's gonna be observing him as he walks back and forth, staring at nothing.
Oh no! He's actually got two somethings. Those you can see.
What kind of confusing me so badly? Caesar's watching people moving things in wheelbarrows that I can't see, and he's not gonna look
No,
funny.
no.
There's no
No.
wheelbarrows around.
No wheelbarrows. He's dragging two somethings across the dirt and the dust into
A room.
a room. Forget the wheelbarrows.
Because he was just
Forget it.
talking to people, and he's
Yeah.
helping them. So I thought
Yeah,
those were the
he was-
wheelbarrow guys. No.
Oh no, they're just some of the albinos in the area. He chatted them up for a little bit. You came out. He's somehow managed to kill two people already, and is obviously dragging the evidence off somewhere because the popo is going to show up.
Okay, well, there's dead people then, right? That's the point.
Okay. All right. Well, as you're dragging Caesar, Xanatari wanders over and
I want to examine what's underneath these things that he's dragging. I want to check them out closer because I don't believe that they're actually dead bodies at first.
okay. They are. If you raise an arm, the arm is quite heavy.
Okay.
There's no pulse. Doesn't seem to be any breathing.
Interesting.
If you happen to have a pocket mirror or something, there's no fog.
How long would she judge them to be dead? Like, are they decomposing or just fresh?
No. They look pretty fresh. You can't really tell if the weathered life for them has been due to farming, and they're somewhere in the 50 to 750 year range of age, but they're not exactly spring chickens,
Okay.
but recent.
Then I want to use one of my encounter powers to resurrect them and ask 3 questions. One of them, I'm going to choose one, and it will be a temporary resurrection, not my full one, but just one that I gained with our last leveling. So
Okay.
whatever one, what's the difference between them? Are they both guys? Are they both the same age? What's the difference?
It's the hotter one.
Pick the hotter one? Okay.
Yeah.
The one that he's lit on fire trying to hide the evidence because
Yep.
now you've seen it and mom's gonna tell and it's gonna be a mess. No real difference in age. Both guys.
Okay. Whatever one is closer, I'm gonna use this encounter power on.
Okay. You just as he's dragging, you're walking along and you just go, hey, hey bub, or do you ask Caesar to stop?
I want to see what happens. I think it'd be hilarious. Like, Xanatari's going to try to use this, which, my mistake, it's a daily, and just see if this person just gets up while Caesar's carrying him, because she thinks that would be hilarious. So I'm going to resurrect him for a temporary time to ask 3 questions of him while Caesar is carrying him.
Okay. There's kind of a mottled bluing and purple bruising that suddenly forms across the face and begins to spread along any exposed body that you can see on the one that you are trying to raise, as if sort of the fresh coat of paint has been wiped off of, kind of a beat-up house or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And rapidly you start to see what a potential 750-year-old person would look like, before there is a cracking and snapping sound as the body starts to twitch and flail and start to split and crack open from the head all the way down, and something starts to kind of rise out of the body.
As soon as the head splits, Caesar drops the body and steps back like 20 feet.
Okay. The clothes, the shirt kind of rips off as something rises out of the torso of this person, and it's not exactly the whole hooded cloak type deal, but there's something shadowy and kind of bat-like that is kind of partially covered by this shirt in a very haphazard sort of manner. And you get one of the most epic fuck you looks ever from a shadow before it kind of dissipates into black, sooty smoke that vanishes on the wind.
Well, that
And
was
you-
less funny than I thought it would be.
Kind of hear a tool drop behind you from the...
Making friends and influencing people. Xanatari. Okay, that was... She's gonna just turn really slowly, look at Caesar, and say, that wasn't a person.
No, it wasn't. That was a vampire.
Uh-huh.
I don't believe your little spell there works as intended on the undead as it does on just the regular dead.
I had some questions.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna get them answered.
No, but in kind of a perverse way, she has asked herself one question. She's got 2 remaining.
Well, okay, that's informational. So, yes, these are vampires, and now they are undead. Good to know. We've got confirmation. And she raises her fist as though it's some kind of victory.
By the way, Bert kind of chimes in and is sort of like the mother cat that has just taught the kitten how to hunt, and the kitten has brought back its first whatever it is to drop at the feet of the owner.
Mm-hmm.
You get this much more smug satisfaction of, there, that's how you do it. Can I get out of the bag now?
Uh-huh. No. Xanatari kind of steps back and starts examining Carl's hair really closely.
So you go back to the barn?
Yes.
Okay. Carl, there's some time where you're alone. There's some time when you're not alone. There's some time when Xanatari is there.
So just before Xanatari comes back, he'll stagger out of the barn, have a look around, tries to walk towards the direction that he presumes Caesar and Xanatari are, and suddenly falls down and almost does a somersault, and then looks down at his leg and says, "Oh, you," and tries to pluck his hand out of from his leg.
I'm sorry, explain that one, because even I went, he did a somersault, and then he's got his hand in his leg. What?
No, he saw the
No,
undead thing grabbing his
undead.
ankle.
Yeah, the hand
Oh,
that's stuck on his
Yeah,
leg.
he just stumbled over because he totally forgot or wasn't aware that there's something attached to his ankle.
Hmm.
So he fell over it, and now he'll plug it off his leg.
Okay. While you're doing that, you happen to see down, there's not really called a street anymore, but you see for the side of one of the buildings, you see someone trying to apply a bandage to a younger, looks to be a girl. Not exactly, straight child, not quite teen, but something along that line. But there is someone trying to help out one of the albinos.
Okay, so if the severed hand doesn't offer too much resistance, he'll just take it with him and walk over there.
Okay. You'll notice that as you take the hand off a little bit after, the pressure point pain goes away.
Oh.
So you feel a little bit better.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay. It is someone that has been pretty banged up in one of the buildings falling to pieces, but she is getting some medical attention, and the person that's applying it does not appear to be either albino or taking much notice of you at this point in time.
So Carl's gonna clear his throat and say, "Hello, I'm Carl. Would you like me to lend a hand? Yeah, lend you a hand." And looks at his hand and goes, "Oh, you." That wasn't very polite of me, I think.
The fellow kind of looks up at you, looks you kind of up and down, accepts the joke for whatever it is with a faint kind of even more straightening of the smirk, and asks you to please assist by helping with knots. There's some various bandages and things that need to be
Okay.
put into place.
So Carl, if he saw sanitary walking toward him just before he entered I don't know, was it a building he just entered, or is the girl out in the street?
She's out in the street.
Okay. So if he by now sees sanitary, he's gonna wave her over, and then kneels down to put a finger on a knot so the other fellow can tie it.
Okay. Caesar, your last round for the evening.
Well, I guess there's one remaining vampire to move.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll go over to that, keeping a pointed eye on Xanatari the whole time.
Xanatari will smile awkwardly.
Before he bends down, he does the whole point two fingers at his eyes, and then point at her a couple times without a word, and then begin lugging the non-corpse into the room.
Okay. Xanatari, at some point in time, you need to inquire or figure out why Caesar is so buddy with the undead at weird and awkward times like this. You can't really question what he does in a bedroom, but he's kind of
sure you can.
Kind of bringing it out a little too public for most heroic parties to.
Well, anytime says it's just something altruistic and kind, like carry the dead to their last resting place, Xanatari's going to question that, but a little bit too occupied with Carl right now.
Okay. What do you want to do for your last action?
Well, Carl called me over, so I'm gonna go over there and try to figure out what he's doing and just kind of watch him holding his finger down while someone makes a knot.
Okay. The figure who is applying the bandages does not turn to look at you, but you just simply hear, very kind of flatly stated, "That was my friend." And take us out.
Thank you for listening. You can find out more at D4Dishonor.com. Listen to us on iTunes at DeathD4. Find us on Twitter, again, at DeathD4. Please take a listen to the Gray Area podcast, because there'll be an episode coming out next week with Dark Tonic. Otherwise, we will hopefully be back here next weekend on Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/Genesee if you'd like to watch us in person. But most of you are probably on iTunes, so hopefully, cross our fingers, next week we will be here. So come hang out.
Thank you for joining us, everyone.
Yay!
Bye.